conquer and we're going to take some. Is that understood? Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do, sweethearts. We are going to go and get some. All right, people, on the ready line. Are you me? Yeah! Are you me? Yeah! What are you? What are you?
Exceptional Parent Magazine's August back-to-school issue provides tips on preparing students with disabilities for an easier transition from summer vacation back to school. You can read this issue and past archive issues for free by signing up for EP at www.epmagazine.com.
Monotony. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Dull, tedious, just plain boring. But what is this? A contender, perhaps? Something unboring by the looks of it. Jabs right at dull, an uppercut to tedium, something that keeps you on your toes, keeps your head on a swivel, a knockout punch to your old, boring workouts. Welcome to Fight Camp.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. Two Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, two lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Marines are made for this. Made for the calling only warriors can answer. Made from an unshakable belief in our nation and a strength that comes from the determination to win together. But you'll have to earn your place among us, because you don't join the Marines. You become one.
Hello and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. My name is Travis, Marine Corps veteran and your host. Oscar Mike Radio is part of Sinister Ones Productions. What's your podcast doing? I want to thank my sponsor, Joyce ASEC of ASEC Real Estate, and my supporters, Case On Shaving Company, Exceptional Parent Magazine, and Fight Camp. Be your strongest combination. And speaking of combinations, we are in the official countdown to number 500. It's an exciting ride, and I have a new, different kind of guest for you. He is an industry professional in his field, serving our country, and I'm excited to learn more about him and his career aspirations. K.L. Allen with Western Governors University. Welcome to Oscar Mike Radio. Great to be with you.
Hey, it's phenomenal to be here. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for just continuing to bless the listeners with all the education and knowledge of the things you do, Travis.
So we're going to learn a lot today, and I start with everybody who is a veteran. You serve our country, correct?
That is correct. Army National Guard, went in 1997, got out in 2005.
You don't look at a day over 35, KL.
Hey, I wish. My knees don't feel that way. I'll say that.
Right. I hear you there. What did you do in the National Guard, and how was it?
So I'll take this story a little further. So again, being from a rural area in North Carolina, my father was in law enforcement. My mother was a school teacher. And growing up back then, we had a couple of options. It was either get a job, go to school, or go to the military. Growing up on a dirt road, I didn't truly feel equipped. From that area, everything was about basketball. So I was like, oh man, I'm getting this D1 scholarship. But that wasn't an initial plan. I needed to get disciplined. And my father said the best thing for you to do is to go like your uncle and others, go and get that discipline from the military. And I remember the recruiter who happened to stay in my neighborhood. He was like, let me get you signed up for the Army Reserve. Then I had someone else, Army National Guard. I'm like, well, what's the difference here? But I would say it was the greatest experience of my life. I remember going to boot camp on September the 16th, 1999. And on my way, I looked at my dad and I said, I don't want to go. I'm afraid to leave this area. And he gave me the greatest piece of advice that I recall to this day. He said, son, leave and grow because the same people you see in the corner, when you get back, they're going to be doing the same thing. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, my dad, he has no clue what he's talking about. But he was right. When I got back, and again, it's not a knock against those people, they were still doing the same thing. So it taught me camaraderie. It taught me how to fail forward. It taught me, we all know, like color green. We're not worrying about your race. We're worrying about the color green, making sure you're a go as opposed to a not a no go. And so they gave me a lot of discipline before I went to college. Because again, coming from a rural area, you think you know everything. But when you go to the military, as you know, as you serve, it's a very humbling experience that everything is dictated for you. Like the reason I stopped eating salt is because I remember the drill sergeant saying, "There's already enough salt in food, and anyway, you're not going to taste your food. You just need to swallow it." And so that was a health benefit. But long story short, it was a lot of discipline, and just to add on to that, when I left basic AIT, was serving in the 514th and the 1454th, I started to realize a lot of people don't understand the benefits from their service. And that really got me laser focused on education to help people transition again. So I want to pause there. I feel like I dumped a lot, but it's something I'm very passionate about of why I went into the military and who I became. And again, it starts with my mother, who was a teacher, and my father, who was in law enforcement 30 years. And it's the best way to pay homage to my parents and to build on that legacy.
Man, that's a powerful, powerful monologue statement. I mean, talk about, coming strong, KL. So it was in the military as you're serving as a military police, in the National Guard that you said, what education and having education as a benefit because of my military service can really further change my life and cause me to grow. And, a lot of people never use their GI Bill. And so before we get into Western Governors University, which I'm looking forward to learning all about, why do you think that is? Why do you think that a lot of us don't, take that step and keep using their GI Bill when they get out?
I'll use myself as an example. I didn't realize understand my benefits when I got out. When I started going to college, we're so laser focused on life and serving everyone else because that's how we are built that sometimes we forget to service ourselves. And that, I know that sounds weird, but we're so used to taking care of everyone else that we put ourselves last. And we hear about these benefits, but we don't think about how to utilize them for ourselves and for our family. And so I've always been a firm believer that while the military does a solid job, that they can do a better job of enforcing how to utilize these benefits to remove some of that red tape to make it easier for us to utilize these benefits. But we sometimes get stuck in life. And Travis, to go back, it was when I came home from basic and AIT, I was at the kitchen table, and many people have heard this story before. My parents were debating about where funds should go up for the state of North Carolina. And my father was like, we need more funding for the criminal justice system. And my mom said, no, honey, if we put more funding in the education system, you'll have less people in the criminal justice system. And you start to tie those things together of being an NP, a father, again, law enforcement, mom's a teacher. And I was like, holy crap, this is a way to make the world a better place.
Is it really that simple where education is the foundation for a better life across the board? Because not everybody is suited to secondary education or even advanced secondary education.
I look at it, everyone is not going to get a 2-year degree or 4-year degree. When I look at education, education is taking one step outside of your comfort zone, which puts you in a learning zone.
Okay.
That to me is education. It could be becoming an electrician, a plumber, but what it does, it gives you exposure outside of something. It could be building on your family's barbershop business. It could be multiple things. So when I always think about education, education is not always formal. Education is again putting yourself outside your comfort zone because I'm a firm believer as well. Once you stop learning to a certain extent, you stop living because there's such an infinite amount of knowledge that we will just never know. And that's the humbling part of education. We will depart this earth and we won't have all of the knowledge. That's the beautiful thing that us having this conversation, Travis, I'm going to walk away with something new from us having this conversation because you have an expertise and a lived experience that I don't have. But if I
And
sit
vice
here and have
versa. Yeah.
exactly, and that to me is education and knowledge, in my opinion, Travis.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that I've learned through doing this podcast is I'm like, man, I don't know anything about anything. And it's like, well, you've been doing this. I'm like, just the military side of this is just so huge. One person can't know it all. But well, let's play a game here for a minute. Let's
Mhm.
be hypothetical because
Yeah.
this kind of applies to me is I got out and then I used my GI Bill benefits for a while. And then I had kids, life got in the way. And now it's like, well, hey, you have like 60, 70 credits. Why don't you go back and get your degree? And I'm like, I don't know if I want
Mhm.
to. I'm like, I'm busy enough as it is. It's more money. It's more time. And besides, I don't know if I can hang with these young whippersnappers in college now. I don't know if I'd be a good fit for school. And that's something that I really wrestle with. Like, what's the benefit? It's going to be hard. And I'm like, I'm already, in my career. What's the point? And I don't know if you come across anybody like that, KL. And what do you say to them?
Come across a lot of individuals like that.
Yeah.
And all those who serve military spouses and so forth, we realize in life that hard work pays off. And for those individuals, it's that in life, greatness doesn't happen by chance. Greatness happens by applying yourself. And a lot of times, higher ed has made it very difficult for those same individuals to go back to school, of having to attend a brick and mortar, of focusing so much on profits as opposed to the outcome of their students. And the segue to WGU and why I really love WGU and why I don't want to say drinking the Kool-Aid, but why I'm here is it gives those same students that we talked about that opportunity where it's built around your schedule, where you're not having to be in class 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and most importantly, having a support system. If you've been out of school for a while, 67 credits, and you want to look to move up in your job, but you don't have that time, it's key to ease back into it. It's like working out. You just don't go back into the gym and try to run 5 miles. You have to build up to it. If not, you're gonna probably pop Achilles or use some Bengay or something. And that's the way it is coming in WGU. Our average age is 33. So we're not dealing with a lot of the 18-year-olds coming out of high school. We're dealing with those who started college, life happened, they had kids, they had to take care of family responsibilities, and now they want to move up and they have a lot of credits from community college. So that same exact example you gave, Travis, is our student.
Okay. 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 So you're going through life, and I noticed that you got out of the military and you got into education. Why WGU? And I got to tell you, I mean, don't take this the wrong
Yeah,
way.
no.
When I first started going on the website, I'm like, oh God, here we go. Another University of Phoenix, flavor, and I had tried University of Phoenix. I hated it the entire time I was there. I'm like, oh my God. But then I got to looking and especially at the military part, because that's what we're talking about. And I'm like, wow, they've got some really unique things like the 6-month term.
Mhm.
So before we get into all that good stuff, and it's all good, I'm really liking it. What's it been like? What is WGU, and why do you really align to it so much, Kale?
So WGU, I always call my elevator speech, was founded in 1997 by bipartisan governors who realized out in Utah, where we were founded at, there were not a lot of schools for adults to go to. We were created to close that workforce skills gap because we realized so many adults were going to school, but they couldn't finish. And there needed to be something different. It needed to be accessible and affordable. Again, growing up, all I heard about was get a job, go to the military, or go to college. And as you start to see the trends, and this kind of dates my ages, education for a lot of people has no longer been cool. It's like, what's the return on investment? I'm going into debt, but what's the return on investment? Then I'm taking so much time away from my family, writing these papers, these team projects, and my team is not doing their part, and I'm having to carry their weight. They're getting the same grade. WGU setup is we're the university of you, meaning, again, if something happens to your family or you need to accelerate because you know a subject well, you're a business owner and you know how to write a business plan, financial, you're IT, accelerate. But then you get to a certain part of it, life happens, or hey, I don't necessarily understand this. You can also slow down. And that takes the stress and the pressure. And then you have, we call our secret sauce, that program mentor who's checking in on you about every week of, hey, what do you need? How are you tracking? Do we want to speed up? Do we want to slow down? What's happening in life? So not just our military community, but all of our students become part of our family, that we need to know what's happening with you because, again, we're close to 400,000 graduates since 1997. And that's not a flex. It's just the most important thing is we realize in the higher education, we needed something different. You can take as many courses as you want in a 6-month period. And if just so happens chance, you finish your degree in 6 months, and it has happened, it's not for all, you're finished. Because there's nothing that says because you sit in a class for semesters or quarters, you're better than someone because we all learn at a different pace, Travis.
You come into this new way of doing things. This is not the University of Phoenix model at all. It was constant term papers. And like you said, I would get upset because I'm like, wait a minute, here I am up at 2 o'clock in the morning because, two other people decided to have fun this weekend and the whole grade counts for the whole team. And this is not like work either, where, it's just not like the real life. But you have this military focused education for service members and prior veterans that's really unique. And it seems like a very intentional thing you all have done. Was that because the leadership wanted that, or is that because they realized there was a need there that could be filled?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
It's one, there was, anytime you come into the market, you have to evolve. And you think about back in the day, the payphone, everybody, there was a payphone on every corner. And now we look around, we rarely see a payphone because everyone has a cell phone. And that's the same way higher education, we have to evolve. And veterans who were, no, excuse me, not veterans, but you had people that were on a ship, Navy. They didn't have time. I mean, they were they were working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to go to school. And so we've actually created a partnership with like the Naval Academy on the community college. We had to figure out a better way to serve people because we realized if we didn't serve them, they could get left behind. And anybody that's heard me speak, I always talk about my goal in life is to help make deferred dreams reality. And that's what we do at WGU. If you have those 70 and 80 credits and you have this bucket list I want to complete, that's our goal. And when I talk to our active students, when I talk to our alums, I always just ask that question, hey, how do we help you make your dream reality? How do we collaborate? And that's what I love to hear about because everybody has their dreams, but so many of those dreams have been deferred, Travis, and it's because of obstacles that's been put in their way. And I want to make sure, being a kid from a dirt road in North Carolina, that I play a role and the organization that I work for plays a role in making those dreams reality.
Let's go back to the the counselor, the mentor, the partner for each of the students. I've never heard anything like that. I went to Fisher College for a while after University of Phoenix, and there was somebody that would check on you like once a quarter. Hey, how are you doing? Make sure you sign up for this class, and here's the schedule. But nothing like that. Where did that idea come from? Because I couldn't imagine. I'm thinking about it right now. Maybe I would have stayed in the fight a little longer if somebody had said, "Hey, we can adjust around you, and here's how to do it." Right then, instead of saying, well, hey, thanks for your money. Here's your transcript. Goodbye. See you next semester, or never.
An innovative thought process,
Yeah.
from our leaders. And again, school is not easy. It's not easy, especially again coming in school. When I first started, our average age was 37. It's went down to 35, and now, as I say, to 33. But we realized that support system is key. Anytime I meet an alum, one of the first things they will talk about is their program mentor. Hey, do you know this person? Do you know this person or that person? I've never met them, but it seems like they are family. I was just in Boston and Dallas, and that's all people rave about is their program mentors. That is key to establish a relationship because, again, guess what? Life happens. And again, they're not therapists, but their goal is to keep you on track. It goes back to the battle buddy in the military. And so we know. Now, sometimes we will have those good battle buddies. Now, my battle buddy, for some reason, he always wanted to bring back artillery from the range, and I would get smoked because of him. So, but staying on track, it's to ensure accountability.
Right.
Accountability is very key. And some people are going to thrive in an environment, some people are not. But if you give our program mentors, hey, I want to have this class done in 2 weeks, guess what? We're going to hold you accountable for that. We realize life happens, but how do we get you back on track? So it's very important that education is not done by a singular person, but it's done by a holistic ecosystem. That's where success comes because no one can really do anything alone. We need support partners in this, Travis.
I think it's in a way you're kind of hitting on my like trepidation to try to even go back to school because I'm like, I see these colleges and they're these big monolithic buildings that are, I don't know what's going to go on in there. I'm like, I'm kind of like looking around. I'm like, dude, I'm these kids' parent, walking in there to class, and I'm like, I don't, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, and it's just, I don't know. I never thought about it that way. That I should be supported throughout all this, which leads me to my next question. You know, I didn't understand, KL, the 6 month term.
Mhm.
If I looking at your website, and I'm thinking, okay, most school terms are 3 to 4 months long, no problem. But you all have a 6 month term. I thought that was very interesting, a very, again, different approach. What led to all that?
Again, it's we're not focused. We're not going to get focused on seat time. We realize that education, the price of education continues to go up. And so we give you a flat rate per 6 months. You realize, okay, in these 6 months, and I used to call it a buffet, but in those 6 months, you can take as many courses as you like. And so again, if you need to expedite it and you master the C plus level, you move forward. But we wanted to do something different. Again, we are accredited, institutionally accredited. So think of any big name school, we will have that accreditation. Then you go through our IT program. You also can receive certifications, and so you are also creating milestones as you go through the process. But again, I use the example. If someone parked a car outside of your house now and said, "Hey, you need to change that tire," we all have different competency levels of how quickly we can change that tire. And so we realize that we can't have this cookie cutter process that everyone needs to sit in class for a quarter semester, that people come from different backgrounds that have different experiences. And education can, I mean, it has been, but we didn't want to make it a cookie cutter experience for our students. We wanted to ensure they had their experience, their lived experience, not somebody else's lived experience.
Okay, all right. And then let's talk about the cost. I mean, look, I get it. It's not free. You're in the business of providing this service to students and helping them achieve their dreams. But I'm reading this right, and the average yearly bachelor's tuition for you all is $8,300. I'm like, that's got to be a typo. I mean, there are state schools here in Massachusetts. That's a semester, not for a year. How is that possible?
Um, Possible multiple ways. It's one that we don't have buildings. Sadly, we don't have a sports team that will go to the Final Four or will win the championship, any of that. So we keep our overhead down by not having those things. And again, I'm all supportive of universities having sports teams, played basketball in college. But again, for somebody that's 33, that may not be what they're coming back for. They're coming back to ensure they move up in their careers, to break a generational curse, or to show like to graduate with their son or their daughter, someone else. So that's how we keep it 8,300 on average for our bachelor's, $8,856 for our master's degree. And again, having a return on investment. We want to ensure that once our students graduate and they're in their field of choice, and you think about our schools, we have the School of Technology, School of Business, School of Education, and Levitt School of Health, all in demand fields. We need more nurses, we need more teachers, we need more businesses. I mean, so these are things that people can go into, and we're adding programs, making sure it's personalized. So that's how we keep our costs low. And I mean, $50,000, $60,000, and again, that's great if you can afford it. But guess what? Everyone can't afford those, and we didn't want anyone to feel like they were left behind. To me, education has to be looked upon as a public good, where if you want it, you can obtain it.
Some people go through their entire lives and work a job they hate or don't like at best. They do it because it provides for their family, keeps their stuff going, and that they understand that. But it really seems like you really enjoy what you do. Where does that sense of satisfaction come from, Kale?
I landed this morning at 3:41 a.m. Transparently, Travis, coming in from DC, and I was like, man, today is going to be a long day, but you wouldn't know that. But
Right.
where it comes from is we're not going to leave this earth alive, no matter what your take on religion or whatever else it is. But my goal in life is, man, to leave this world a better place than what I found it in. And to me, education solves that, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year, electrician, and you go somewhere else. Because I've told students, hey, WGU may not be the best fit for you, but during your life, make sure you make your dreams reality. Like when you leave, how do you want people to remember you? How do you want people to remember you? And that's where it comes from. It goes back to Travis. A lot of people said I wouldn't be here. So I'm not one of those regional vice presidents that I was born into this. I worked my butt off and will continue to work. And that's not a flex. My flex is how do we make the world better? And you have to do things differently. And so I heard Oprah speak a couple of weeks ago, and she said something. She was like, success for her when she was younger was like, man, if I can get 6 trees in my yard. And when she built her house, she realized she had 6 trees and a lot of trees behind those trees. And she said, all I ask you is to plant your 6 trees. So all I ask people to do is find your dream and run towards it. If WGU can be a part of that, let it be. If it's another university, let them be. But what I refuse to let people do is sell themselves short. Too many people have been told what they can't do. 7% of our students are women. We got 15% of our student population that have served in the military spouse, and so forth. So we have a very diverse population. But I want every one of our students that touch WGU to know that we look at you as family. We know you can do it, and we're going to hold you accountable because other people count on you just like we're counting on you. And that's what keeps me up in the morning. That's land at 3:41. And all I can think about is like, man, I got to make sure I show up for the students and show up for Travis because it's bigger than me.
It is bigger than you, but there's a personal side of this too. Like, what's it like when you see or hear from a student who came through WGU, who maybe was like me, who's, not really sure if they could do it, one, and two, get through it and say, you know what, KL, my life has changed. What's that do to you inside?
It keeps me going. I mean, we have a commencement coming up in Boston, August 22nd, 23rd. And I'm looking forward to connecting with those students. But it's if it's a day that I'm tired, or it's a day that I'm like, man, have I did enough? Is it time? Man, when you hear those student stories, man, it's nothing like it. It's like an adrenaline rush. It's like yeah, it's just an adrenaline rush because you realize that you've positively impacted society, and it's not something that I never want to take credit. I don't need credit, but just to see somebody reach their full potential, it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy need, that
Yes.
self-actualization. Oh man, when that self-actualization, because I've heard students talk about, man, they couldn't pay this bill or that bill, and WGU helped them out, or somebody helped them out, and they were going to McDonald's at one point in time to get internet access. Man, it changes. And I'll tell you a story. And this student actually did not attend WGU, but outside of my family, this is another reason why I fell in love with higher education. And I still talk to the student to this day. The student walked in and she stated, I need to go back to school. I was like, okay, we'll get you signed up. And I noticed she really couldn't type well. So I said, I don't want to have you to start school. You have to do a lot of typing because I'm setting you up for success. Go to the local community college, take typing. You do that, I'll get you signed up. She came back in 6 months later, very emotional. And she said, Kale, I need this. I'm going through a divorce. My son is incarcerated. And my mother and I just have this very strained relationship. The student not only completed their bachelor's, they went and completed their master's degree. When their son was released, their son came back to obtain their bachelor's degree. Their mom, at the age of 70 plus, came back to get her bachelor's degree. So that family's legacy is not if and when, but it's when that next generation goes to school. Taking them out of certain situations, and it only takes one, Travis. It only takes one. And that's what education does, whether it's formal, informal, changing thought processes, it can change your outlook on life. I love to have friends around me that have a different opinion and a thought process because it makes me better. It makes me better. And so it just excites me. And I can't tell people how I see myself in a lot of these students of being counted out or whatever else it is. And so I just love our student population. I love anybody that's trying to better themselves, whether they're a WGU or not. And that's my personal vibe, not a WGU. I just love people to fall forward and not to fall back.
Your parents were central to a lot of the things that you did in your life and successes you've had. What's it been like for your parents to see you, work and serve in this way, Kale?
Oh man, you hit me in a good spot there, man. Every day, man, still at my ripe age, the goal is to make my parents proud, man. I'm so blessed to have both of my parents. My dad is my best friend, man. Um, it's to let them know, like, that hard-headed kid that you told, hey, don't touch the stove because it's hot, and I touched it. It was just curiosity, is what I tell them. It was curiosity to get to where I'm at now. But it's essential that my parents know that every sacrifice they made for me, it was worthwhile because I wouldn't be me without them. I remember when I got to college, I called my parents and realized, I told them I didn't realize how smart y'all were. As you get older, you realize how smart your parents are and the sacrifices they made. And when you become a parent, you realize, oh my God, that sacrifice is real. And there's no true blueprint to being a parent.
Yeah.
No blueprint. And so I would just tell your listeners today, if they have their parents and they can connect with their parents, reach out to their parents and just tell them they love them. Just tell them they love them and they appreciate them. Like that's another message because we never know when their time is. And life is too short to live with regrets.
Absolutely. So a listener's listening, they're like, you know what, I wanna see if this will work for me. Where they go and to start the sign up process for WGU, Kale?
Let's go to the website, wgu.edu. Look for the scholarships. We have a lot of scholarships. Look for our programs. Um, it's there. It is there. And I'm also going to do something that I rarely do. I'm actually going to even leave my email address. So if your listeners have a question they can email me for support, and I will get them to the right place. And that email address is kl.allen, ALLEN, at WGU. And I'm doing that because, Travis, you're such a supporter, and you gave this platform an opportunity. So I want to go the extra step for your listeners.
Thank you so much. I mean, you certainly have challenged, my thoughts on education at my age and my time in my life. And, I'm sitting there thinking, well, I can't do this. And you're telling me a 78-year-old grandma crushed it. It's kind of hard to sit there and say that I couldn't do it, KL. It's kind of hard.
Travis, man, you serve. There's nothing you can't do, and you know that. And it's, as you know, it's about making sure we surround people with the right tools to be successful. And I mean, we've definitely had a lot of older people at WGU to graduate, and it's always a mindset. And so, Travis, I'm even going to encourage you. You've already looked at our website. We may want to have a side conversation. You got those credits. How do we utilize those credits?
Done. We'll make that happen. I just want to thank you for coming on and talking with me. It's these kind of conversations that not only will my listeners and watchers learn from, but people anywhere can learn from at any point in their life. But, to your point, there's a lot of us military veterans who get out and, we take care of everybody else, family, community, all that. And a lot of times we let ourselves go for whatever reason. So I think this is a good little reminder that, we can, know yourself and seek self-improvement, as they say in the military.
Well said. And one of the last things I'll say is, going back to all of us that have served, make sure we have our board of directors, and those are the people that can pour back into you as we're pouring into everybody else. But we can't continue to pour into others if people aren't pouring into us. So make sure you use your board of directors. If you need somebody to talk to, reach out to them. We're all here to support each other. That's the one thing that I want to always remind our veterans. We're here to support each other. So find your board of directors and reach out to them, because we have your 6, we got your 12, we got everything. We got you.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is KL Allen with Western Governors University. I will have the links and his email address and Oscar Mike Radio show post. I want to thank you for coming on, KL. And as we say in Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
The biggest fear Gold Star families have, that their child will be forgotten.
We need to never forget freedom wasn't free.
It's the fact that they give us the life we have now. We should remember them and give thanks to them.
If I can be a part of something today that's going to make the surviving family of any of these veterans, these heroes, feel better tomorrow, then it's worth it.
That one wreath symbolizes one family that was able to smile because of the generous donations.
To sponsor a wreath and honor a veteran, visit wreathsacrossamerica.org.
Thank you for listening and watching Oscar Mike Radio, where our active duty service members and veterans are in action and the mission is in flight. Oscar Mike Radio is an oversized load co-Sinister One production. If you are a veteran or know a veteran who needs help, please dial 988 and press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line.